And we're just getting word now that the World Anti-Doping Agency has banned Russia from all major sporting events, including next year's Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. Members of the international body convened in Switzerland to hand out the 4-year ban. They accused Russian administrators of manipulating doping records. A government-sponsored doping scheme was revealed 5 years ago. Russian athletes were barred from competing in Russian games. They have been banned from the Olympics and World Championships in a range of sports. That decision coming from the World Doping Agency. Let's bring in our sports correspondent, Lee Wellings, from London. So, Lee, what exactly does this mean then?
Well, this was expected that WADA would impose this 4-year ban on Russia to go with the bans we've already seen over the last 4 or 5 years for what is, of course, state-sponsored doping. It was their compliance committee at the World Anti-Doping Agency that investigated Russia and realised there was still a complete lack of compliance. There was still much cause for suspicion. There were still things that didn't add up when they eventually got the data they needed. And so, of course, there was the need for the WADA Executive Committee to take action on behalf of world sport. Now, of course, once this happens, and we've seen it before, then the whole situation moves into the politics. Do we actually see Russian athletes competing in, for instance, the big one, the Olympics in Tokyo next year? The answer is almost certainly yes. It will be the same situation that we saw in Pyeongchang, in the Winter Olympics, in the Rio Olympics before that, where Russian athletes who are perceived clean compete under a neutral flag. This leads, of course, to a lot of criticism of the IOC and other sports bodies that not enough is being done for a blanket ban on Russia. There are many athletes who miss out on medals that are furious this is still the situation. And I can tell you there are loopholes. For instance, Russia's hosting of major sports events, 4 games in Euro 2020 in St. Petersburg, June next year, they're likely to take place because UEFA is not a signatory to the WADA code. I've seen other loopholes that mean that if a sports governing body feels they can't move an event in time for practical or legal reasons, then it would stay in Russia. Inevitably, this will end up again in the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland because there is an inevitability that Russia will deny and appeal.